are back. Hello, Shell.
Hi, Shao. How you doing?
I'm good because I'm so excited. We have the big monkey brother on with us today. His name is P Ling in Thai. And
That's the one.
I'm laughing because I just discovered a new side of Rod Henderson, our guest to the show today. Hi, Rod.
Hello, hi. Who the fuck is Rod Henderson? Thank you so much, Michelle. And Shelvis, as we know her more personally, the red hen for Scotland, but she's in New Zealand, but she's been in my house and she stayed in my hotel. So that like makes her like my sister. And you're in
Hi.
Belgium and you're like my sister that I haven't met yet in the flesh, but we had so much wonderful connection through Bring It that I've made some of the most amazing friends and all the stuff we learned from Jamie. And the reason I'm so excited this afternoon is that I watched your interview with Jamie and it was absolutely beautiful. It was wonderful because it's like you talked about everything and you let Jamie just do his stuff. But Jamie told us everything in that interview that he could tell you through it. So it was like a revision of everything in Bring It in a winner. It was like, you guys are magic. And you fucking asked him the questions we all want to know about the Ram Dass stuff and everything in the music. And it's like, and then I was like, what am I going to do now? I've been sitting down here. You guys made me do homework. I started writing stuff down on paper. It's like, I could have been throwing water around all day, but no. Like, I had to come down here and ground myself. And it's been perfect because it's reminded me of what I'm actually here for. And I got things happening. And now I'm here in Thailand. I mean, this is so ridiculous. It's beyond belief. I mean, it's beyond anyone's belief. I'm in Thailand. I've just become a yoga teacher. And
So, Roddy, did you
I don't
step
know who
through the
Roddy is.
wardrobe into Narnia and ended up in Thailand?
I think that would be exactly correct. And I thank you for reminding me of that. I'd forgotten in one of the maddest parts of my life. And I am going to have this tattooed on the top of my back. Ma vida loco. It means my crazy life, right? Because my life has been fucking insane, right? Absolutely all the way. And that means insane, good and bad, right? They're both to equal measure of extremity. Right. But during the JB Cattle stuff, when I was probably as hyper as that person could ever have been with everything that's going on, this was the most sacred thing that happened along with my friends that came along and musicians, and that turned into a band and they made an album. Holy shit. We made a thing for YouTube, 1 to 10 live, Glasgow live. We were there. And I was jumping around like a monkey. But that was all those years ago. It's incredible. That happened then and this happened now. And in that time, come to Thailand to become a yoga teacher. And I'm sitting here, half naked. Well, actually fully naked. That's why I've got the camera like this, because in actual fact, I'm levitating. Right? Because with the course that I was on, the amount of spiritual enlightenment that's being offered here in Thailand is beyond compare. And, since that was all transmitted to me when I was blindfolded and hyperventilating, right, to such a degree, right, I thought I was going to pass out. But then the helpful people came along because they've been teaching me Tantra, right, and then did all the weird fucking shit that you do over there, right, that I'm actually not part of because I'm a yogi, right, and yogis do things differently. We go away into the woods by ourselves and breathe through one nostril at a time, which is actually called pranayama. And thank you, Ben, for teaching us the huge benefit of breath work, your breath work, conscious connected breath work. And then that's what's made me realize that when I was doing that and the light came out my crown chakra, thank God my tail had gone all the way down to the middle of the earth and wrapped itself around the iron forest there. Because when my unicorn's horn came out and went way to the other side of the universe, it was quite a surprise to me because I didn't know a balloon on a string could go that far. Anyway, it yanked me off the ground. And therefore, after I've been able to take my legs uncrossed and I'm levitating. Right? And I know that that's far too much for me to show you on this particular program because that person that I was back then is so different. So I remember in a thing, right? Being so mad, it's like you guys were. I was like, I want to show you something, and I grabbed whatever it was I had, and I ran up the stairs in the hotel to this really special wardrobe in the bedroom, the hotel that is no longer mine, right? That's a whole story about attachment. We'll come to that maybe in the future. And I pulled the mirrors around, right? Because I loved doing this with the children that came to the hotel. Because when you stood in between those two mirrors, I did this with my kids. Showed them Narnia, and then put them in the wardrobe and closed the doors. Right? And people were like, "You can't do that. That's child abuse." I'm like, "Shut up. This is Scotland, right? As far as they're concerned, they're in Narnia, right? I've closed them doors, right? And that means they'll be quiet for at least 20 minutes, right? So that's not child abuse. That's called using your fucking imagination, right? Anyway, back to the doors, right? So here we are. Mad fucking Scotsman's get out now.
So talking about that Narnia wardrobe, I found some lovely quotes out of the Narnia Chronicles. It's one of them is one day you will be old enough to start reading fairy tales again. And I mean, that's also a part of our journey becoming that. And Rod, I would like to know um, if you are okay to go back in that Narnia wardrobe, back in that old hotel, which was so beautiful, such a huge property you had back then, and tell us a little bit about your life before and becoming the monkey, the peeling.
It really would be my absolute pleasure to do such a thing. And on that way, I've got all the time in the world, right? So just ask whatever you want to do. Let this run as long as you want, and you can edit anything out that may be inappropriate. Because I'm so appropriate, as you know. Ask away your questions.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we met you on Bring It was, that's the connector for the three of us, which has started a bond as it has done for many of us with, working with Jamie and doing the course. And your presentation that you gave to all of us will probably be remembered as one of the most clever and entertaining, which was about the Narnia wardrobe. And of course, because it was COVID, you were in the hotel and, you had the band there as well, but not the massive guests. And it was a really challenging time as this was a place that was really a key part of your family life. Your parents purchased the hotel, didn't they?
Absolutely. I think the easiest way, I just realized this when you were describing that there, the point at which you met me, I grew up from there as a baby, and I was a baby that was adopted, and they owned this hotel. Very smart Glasgow couple. My dad was very handsome, wore a kilt. My mum was very, very attractive. And they had an amazing love story, but that was all a long time ago in Glasgow. We only found about this latterly. But anyway, because you don't see your parents like that when you're a child, even if you're a brought in baby. But when I was growing up, there, we had lots of dogs. And there was puppies at the same time. My parents used to put me in this huge pen, right, with all the puppies. And the dogs would lie on the grass and no one would come anywhere near the thing because the dogs wouldn't let them anywhere near. So that was like child protection for Scottish children. Which is why throughout my life, I've always thought that I was a dog and I've had such affiliation with dogs. It's absolutely mental. So yes, I grew up from that little baby on the grass with the puppies all the way through to my taking, control of the business from my parents through all kinds of family being forced into the business. Because if you don't come into the business, the rejection, we'll come on to this obviously, because we've got wounded child with attachment issues, being told he'll be rejected by a woman, la la la. So that's the wounding part of the story, but we can deal with that now because I'm in recovery. That stuff all happened there. I thought to myself, okay, smarty pants, I'll take this on. I'll make a good job of this. And one day I'll fly away and I'll sell it and I'll make lots of money. But at the point that I met you guys, it was during COVID, right? And that was mental because the business closed down. And one of the things I did was like, okay, my business is going to close down. What do you think we should do? I don't know. I decided not to go bankrupt because that was too extreme. Okay, what we're going to do now? I'm going to start spending money like we've never done it before. Okay, what on? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is go and do a Bring It course because I like that Jamie Cattle guy and I want to become like him madly. So trying to justify that to my wife was something or other thing. Was her response to that after the first thing was, "What are you doing this for? Because you'll never be Jamie Cattle." At which point my limp dick got limper, and there's no way of expressing that, unless you have a man and you're Scottish. It's like, how could it get any softer than soft? And you're like, well, it can, because when that sort of cutting remark, I was like, you don't want to become like Jamie Cattle. See, Jamie Cattle wants us to become the mad bastard version of ourselves that we can be. In amongst all of that journey, we have the serious stuff. But then the answer to that is what? Music and laughter, and meeting wonderful people like you guys. You can connect, and we're all sharing this stuff, and we all discover we're all human beings. And I'm in recovery from alcohol, but everyone's got stuff going on. But because we start off on connection, and before we did this, I listened to Stereo MC's Connected, right? Because as far as I'm concerned, that was our theme tune, because we used to get up and dance to that. So that for me is like immediately takes me to the Bring It headspace. And that's the special thing that happened in the hotel at that point in time. So that was my Narnia, that's my Narnia reflections looking back the way to that time, which was a while ago now. When was that? 20 what?
2020.
2020. This is 2024. I can count to 4. Monkeys can do that. I could do it in Thai now as well.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Roddy. That's great. It just gives a little bit more to reflect on and to understand a little bit more about you, even though we're not deep diving here today, and we're not doing breakthroughs, as Jamie would say.
No way.
But it's what
Thank God for that.
Delighted us about being able to have you is, I guess, the transformation, the journey that you're on from, a few years ago as hotelier to, and of course, you're doing personal development all the time, but, you're doing massage, you're doing yoga teaching, and we're really keen to know what you're going to add on, or are you thinking, you might go and set up your own retreat center ultimately, or what's your thoughts?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that question, because once upon a time, there was a man called Roddy Henderson, right? He was an invented character. He morphed out of Rod Henderson, who was too fucking mad, right, to do anything. But taken under the wing of a wonderful Scottish businessman, Drew Sloan, right, they ran so much business in the hotel, I pretty much ended up working for his company, even though it wasn't. He could have bought my hotel. Well, he did, because the amount of money he spent in there. Anyway, they were like, well, Roddy, because the one thing they said to me was like, why do you think we come here? And I'm like, I don't know. Because you like the food. The food's okay. We like the decor. It's okay. So we come here because of you. I was like, really? I said, that's a great surprise to everybody, especially me. And he was like, well, that's why we come here. Blah, blah. And he says, Roddy, right? Because that's much, blah, blah. So I was gifted this name by this man a long, long time ago. And during that journey, I morphed into this hotelier called Roddy Henderson, who did all these hotel-like things. And if you're married once, oomph, that lasted no time at all. Oomph, alcoholic, lots of drinking, because you're in hospitality. Guess what you do? Especially when the Ukrainians come and all you do every evening is drink the vodka that they brought from Ukraine. This was 20 years ago. Boom, 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 with lumps of lard and butter. And Drew had said to me, you're in with them. I'm like, okay, because we were all drinking all the time anyway, all night. He says, you're in with them. Your job's to do mine host. He says, exactly. But that was it. He was he encouraged me greatly and greatly. So I grew into this character. And I remember one of the guys warned me way back then. He said to me, don't let Drew put you completely under his spell. Right? Because if you do, right, look at the man. Right? That's what you will become. Right? So I looked at him and I thought, I think he looks really fucking cool. But now I know what you mean, because he became just a man who drank, and that was his thing. He's still a lovely man. I love him. But they were pointing me in a direction that I had to go on that journey myself to get to a certain point. But COVID, the thing that seemed the most horrible thing in the world at the time, forced me to look at my attachments to this certainty that I had about what I was going to do with my life in a very, very, very profound way. I'm also a recovering alcoholic, and I wasn't particularly, grounded or sober at the time. And my sponsor, thank God for him, I went and lived in the hotel, right, full of alcohol, right. So it's my hotel, right? I can lock the bar, right, and put the keys, la 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 la, in the safe, la la la. There's still hundreds of bottles of wine and stuff. But I locked the bar up and put the keys away. And they were like, "We want you to take the keys off site." I was like, "No." I said, "Because I know they're in there, right? And if you know what, you know me anyway. I wanted to get a drink, I would." I said, "The point of it is, it's just a mental barrier that I've put there between myself and the alcohol behind the bar. And I will come to terms with that as I live here." And they bring it, people. You guys kept bringing me back into a reality of human connection that helped keep me sober, as well as my sponsor coming in and seeing me, because we were breaking rules. And then I had the friends that wrote pretty much a recovery album based on the friendship that we grew from three guys that were just about to commit suicide. I did not know at the time. Like, 2018, I was ready to string myself up. I was ready to kill myself because I was so under the control of alcohol. And it was only, and I wrote this down here, it was you guys talking about stuff, and it made me think about things in a kind of more serious way. And then I can be as stupid as you like. And I will be, because that's my nature. But, I wrote down the characters again, which was lovely. But the thing about it is the control. Well, I have all of those characters and more. The control freak and the rules don't apply to me thing. That came out when I was doing my step 4 recovery. And the reason I got into recovery is because I was smashed into the ground to the point where I was going to commit suicide. And I went back to Alcoholics Anonymous. And what happens there is when you surrender and you accept you're an alcoholic and you do that thing there, an amazing thing happens. In that instant, the compulsion that took me to that place, the very, very last bit of your life where all of us, we've got gas cookers, know how this works. You're trying to start the thing, right? And it's just click, 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 clicking. Right? That's about where I was with my life. And the minute I went into recovery, the pilot light came on, because I suddenly said, I'm no longer in control of my life. I will surrender to something greater than me. Pilot light comes on, oof, the gas comes on. You're like, oh, thank fuck for that. It's like, how close he was to fucking passing out. Right, that was him. Did. Right, that's what happens. You fucking die. Right, but then, oof, 2020, I meet you guys. I'm staying in recovery. You helped me through COVID. La 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 la. Here I am, mad as a box of frogs, like sitting half naked in Thailand as a yoga teacher. How the fuck did that happen?
That's what I was going to ask you as well. I mean, this
In that
journey
way,
sounds so incredible, such an amazing transformation that you have made, in these 4 years. And I remember when we had the meetings, you were in that hotel alone. It was like in a movie, like my dream being in a hotel all alone one day. And it really seemed like you have used that Narnia wardrobe to go to that transformation. What you also told me in your message before, that if you are diving into that path, a lot of the family are not following your way. I mean, are not understanding what you're doing. You're a little bit like woohoo doing.
well, that's like a monkey, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And how did you manage to get over these
Well,
struggles, and which
wow.
struggles do you had as well on your journey there?
What a good question. That's such a left field question. So, doing, well, I managed to catch that in my left hand there. Right. Just imagine for one moment, please, Michelle and Shelvis, right? I'm your dad, right? That ran a hotel in Scotland, right? Got a bit sober. Now, bearing in mind that mummy drinks a lot too, because I was in a codependent alcoholic relationship. I ran a business and I could afford to, I could have afforded. This is the sort of place I'd have brought my children to, right? And we'd have had these, right, Mr. Henderson, right, that's my proper name, right? Son of Hender, yes. What would you like to know? What did you do with the money you made in your business? Did you invest it wisely for the future a little bit? What did you do with the rest? Well, we spent it on mountain bikes and holidays, and we went out and we lived. And I would take my children away with nice holidays, and I would be going to do crazy shit at least once or twice because that's all I was doing all the time because I could never sit still. I'm a monkey. I've always been a monkey. And how have they dealt with that? Well, when they were kids, that was great because guess what? I love kids. I am a kid. I've never grown up. Always, that's the great thing about having a hotel. I was running around the garden one day with these kids, and this guy goes, "You're Mr. whatever he is." Right? And I was like, "Who the fuck is that?" I went and talked to them. I knew the mums, right? They loved it. This was free babysitting for them. We'll come and get pissed on the wine, right? And let Rod run around the garden. Roddy will run around the garden with the children, right? Because he just and entertain them all afternoon. So that's what I did. Mr. whatever it is. I had to go past him. It's that guy on the telly. I looked him up. He's worth a fortune too. Right? Anyway, right, mad as a box of frogs. Love the kids. Right, so when my kids were wee, that's how they reacted to me. Well, now they're both in the military, right, and they're coming back home, and I've got sober, and I'm getting weirder as far as they're concerned. Although I'm trying to explain all this to them, and the majority of my son's kind of going along with it. So that's a whole other question. Why are your kids in the military? We'll come back to that maybe. Right, it's something to do with their dad, right? Anyway, there they are, and alcoholism probably more than likely. Right, that's the situation. They rock forward to just last year. I just sold my business for quite a, not the sum I looked for, but it wasn't bad. The evening, let's just get you into this, right? The evening of the night before we were about to sign the contract, I've been working on this for a year with a lawyer, right? The bill was astronomical. This woman phones me and says, I knew as soon as she said that word, I knew what was coming next. She's like, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go through with the sale. And I'm like, oh, my stomach goes from here, right, all the way down through the center of the earth, right, picking up some mass with it, and then just takes my arsehole to the other end of the universe, right, in that moment. Right? I'm thinking, that's it. My entire life is about to go down the fucking drains here because that lawyer's bill is so huge, I cannot afford to pay for it because I'm in so much debt with my business having to get us through COVID and everything. It's like we're about to sink. So I said to them, I'm very disappointed. I said, I understand the reasons and everything. Now, we'd built up a sort of friendship, and she'd be always genuinely heartbroken. She said, is there anything I can do? And I said, yes. I said, would you please pay my lawyer's bill? That was £45,000, right? So this woman, right, graciously agreed to pay for this. And in spite her lawyer sending her a letter, an email, which was actually one of these text things that was like, what? In huge capital letters, I told you not to pay, because that's what lawyers are like. Anyway, she graciously paid my lawyer's bill. And I was like, that, holy fuck. And 2 days later, I got a phone call from the agent saying a Chinese family wanted to buy the hotel. That's a whole other story. That's like a whole mind unbelievable thing that happened after that. But what happened was I sold it at half price. How good are negotiators are they? They see this man's on his arse. They come in and tell me they'll give me all this money in a week. Like I've already planned the rest of my life with this of like boink. So guess what? The universe gives you not what you want to get, what you need. Right here you go. Boom, boom, boom. Now, my therapist and I have been talking with each other for a very long time, and I absolutely love the women because what happens is we go in there and I talk and I tell her about Jamie Catto and all that stuff, and we don't actually fall off the chairs, but we roll around laughing, right, the whole fucking time. Not all the time, but a lot of the time, right? And I absolutely loved it, right? And I loved her, right? And but she's my therapist, right? But she helped me through all of this stuff because she came in at the same time I went to recovery because my daughter and all that stuff that had happened with. I was mentally ill. Right? So my daughter wanted me to have serious intervention during COVID. She wanted me to do it. She called in a crisis team and they called my therapist and all that stuff happened. So that's to give you an idea. Right? I'm only telling you this, right? We're not going 9-10 or anything. That's just telling you that to give you an idea of how my family perceive what's happening with me. Right? So all of that with this weird man, and then the hotel gets sold. And my therapist and I all knew once that card get kicked away, everything was coming down. But we've been preparing for this. I've been preparing for this because of COVID, because of recovery, with Bring It, and the 5 Rhythms dancing that I was introduced to by the wonderful people I've met. I've become such good friends with Helena. She is my big sister. I mean, big. Like, I absolutely love her. Right? And she is my Glasgow big sister. We go dancing every month, don't we, Hen? Every month. I come and pick you up, and we come up from there, a wee wagon of nutters, and we go into Glasgow, and we all go to 5 Rhythms dancing together. And it's absolutely delightful. And that came through Bring It as well. So all of that is what's kept me able just to sort of go, well, I'm just going to have to accept what's happening here. But that was what I needed to learn. And during that journey, I went to Lendrick Lodge in Scotland, which is a shamanic place for New Year. I'd been there a few years ago to do this initiation with Peggy Dillon, and Stephen Mulhern, whose story is incredible.
He's amazing, isn't he?
Stephen's incredible. You know him. You've heard of him.
I've done the Lendrick Lodge experience with the firewalking and with Helena.
You've done it? Yeah. Oh, yes, you've been there. Right. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Well, I went back to New Year.
Special as.
Unbelievable. I went back.
Did you do the arrow?
Oh, yes. We did everything. The Sweat Lodge. We had people, wonderful. Olga and her daughter and a bunch of folks were there when I did my initiation. And they'd come over from New Mexico. Or no, from Texas. One up. She's a proper Native American. It's part of her culture. What a gift we had to be with her and to do that stuff at Lendrick. And I was back there at New Year because guess what? My family, and guess who had said it? And she was there volunteering. Helena said to me, I think you should think about going to Lendrick for New Year. I'm like, uh-huh. And then she told me another time. I was like, uh-huh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of like in that way, like you hear somebody saying something to you, like, it's not your mummy, it's your big sister going, listen, this is not really a suggestion. Like, I'm making a sort of polite suggestion to you, but really what I'm trying to tell you is you should fucking go to Lendrick for New Year. That's what I hear. So I do it. I book it up. And thank God for that, because my family came home and they were all drinking and my daughter had got engaged. It's like, I'm in a different space completely to all of, I was going to say those people, my family. So I'd already booked to go to Lendrick. So that's where I went for New Year, to be away from all the drinking and the craziness.
And Roddy,
and the most incredible thing, yes.
If you don't mind me just cutting in a little bit on the Lendrick, but the theme of retreats. Did you go to Findhorn and sample that as well, or am I wrong about you?
Funny you should ask. Funny you should ask.
Because that's a very famous place as far as well-being and community is concerned.
It really is. It's a very, very unusual place. But today, this afternoon, the very afternoon, I was reading the daily reflections that we have in our group. And one of them is from the founder of Findhorn. And I used to despise these readings. And now I love them. I absolutely love them. And her name's going to come back to me just in a moment. Right? So I went there with these guys, right, from my recovery group. And we were mad as a box of frogs, but we were out there. And while we were there, I noticed that in the roundhouse, right, they were doing 5 rhythms. So I was in, and I was like, fucking hell. So I went back to the place where we were staying on the place, and I said to the guys, we do this thing here. And they're like, fuck off. We're not doing that. We're not going dancing. I'm like, it's not dancing. However, it's moving meditation. Blah, blah. All the guys in Bring It were talking about it. But no. I said, come on, it's moving meditation. So eventually we all went. And subsequently, they've all come back, apart from one guy, because he does his own thing differently. But all of us went. And Peter has subsequently shared, and I met this woman just recently, and I shared this with her. When she was speaking to him for the first time, Peter, who seems to have this incredible ability, I shouldn't have used her name, sorry. Nobody knows who you are. Take the name out. Right. Said that connection that he felt from that woman in that moment, so much love and joy came into his heart. He was about to start crying. And he turned to her and he says, can I do the aeroplane? She goes, you can do anything you want. And from that day forward, every time we go to do 5 rhythms, I'm like, come on, let's throw some aeroplanes in. And we do it. And that's the beauty of 5 rhythms dancing. And it just takes you through so much stuff in your life. And it's just through movement. I would never have come across that if I hadn't been for this.
Mm. Yeah, I feel that. And I love how you've actually highlighted so many cool things you've done that have supported you with this transformative journey. And yeah, Michelle and I are just so thrilled to be able to see you and talk to you while you're actually, living the transformative moments in Thailand. And have you got about another month there, Roddy? Is that right?
I do. And I've been asking myself a question, and it's a very important question. What am I doing here? Why did I come here? And the question that came to my mind is through Jamie, if you don't mind me, I'll take a small digression on the way up to this, right? Because it's kind of explains the journey. I wrote stuff down. I don't normally write because it's. Anyway, here we go. What do I seek? Right, so I've watched you guys interviewing Jamie, which took me right there. Everything. Now, because of Jamie and becoming nobody in the films that he's made and the music and everything, and the 5 rhythms and all that stuff, started getting into Ram Dass. Right? And that really, really started accelerating. I went to a Buddhist place to do meditation because I've been doing yoga for years. And I love mountain biking. It's a crazy extreme sport. And I had a huge smash in November on my bike. One momentary lapse of concentration that I looked. These guys were going down real fast. Tricky stuff. Right? It was getting dark. And I looked across for a second, taking my eye off the trail. And this thought came into my mind, thinking, oh, I've been here before. Boom! I had this huge crash. Right? I hit the ground really fucking hard and I hit this tree. I was like, oh my God, I've probably broken my neck. I've tried to break my neck so many times in my life. I believe when I ran my hand up the back and down here to check my chin, there wasn't wearing a full face helmet. I was like, oh my God, my neck and my head are still here. Right. I better get up and get on that bike before I pass. So I thought I'm going to get the whoosh and pass out. So I leaned up against the tree, waiting for the whoosh and the pass out. How do I know this? Because it's happened before. The boys caught me and were like, no, sit down, wait. And then it comes. Didn't come. I'm like, now get on the bike and go. I couldn't pedal because I just couldn't pedal. Anyway, it turns out I noticed it the other day there when I was doing yoga. I split a muscle in my thigh. Right? I split the muscle open because actually what took all the impact out of my head crash was my thing. Right, so all of that crazy shit's in my life, but I've always been fixed up through Thai massage, which is the journey in Thai massage, because Pranny would just fix me. And what she told me, because she's been training me for 4 years. That's why I'm in Thailand. Is you work on yourself. Right? So I've been practicing on myself and learning. It's like I won't go back necessarily with completely, certainly not able to use the sticks and do the toxin I did, but what an amazing thing to see. Right? Nobody in the Western world would believe, right, that you can heal a person so wonderfully with a wooden hammer and a wooden chisel. Right? When you learn and you see the skill that these people have working on you in 2 hours, and the rhythm is this: 120 beats per minute, which is 2 pumps of the heart. You feel you're in your mother's womb. So while they are loosening off your muscles, using all the lines that you're learning, I've also discovered how to see the first 3 numbers in Thai. So I had to learn the lines. Of course, you'll appreciate this. I've actually learned Nong, 1. So that I learned it by having to do it the finger up. Nong, Som to the thumb, right? I should remember this as well. 3rd one, broken pinkies, both sides, right? Shut up, right? Nong, Som, Sam, 3 lines, right? Because they only spoke Thai. But this is incredible. He did, and I thought I have to learn what this is like to experience. So he did it on me. I couldn't believe it. I've experienced lots of Thai massage skill. And they talk about the people that come there, because this is like a temple. They train people. There's a shrine. It was the same in Bangkok. We had a shrine. We prayed for half an hour every day before we started. We prayed to this man here, Jivaka. He was the physician to the Buddha. He was a monk. He became very, very skilled in healing. We prayed to him every morning. At the time when I went there, I didn't know this. I knew I loved this sound because I've always loved devotional music. I love Jamie's music. I listened to the internal stuff before we started to do some breathing. I've been taught because apparently I'm a yogi. I'm a yogi bear. Right? I'm learning how to do this. It's what they've told me that works, right? Guess what? What? If you do it, yeah, how often? Every day. Right? It works. It works. But you have to do it in the morning. You have to center yourself and do the meditation. And then you can be as wild as you want because you've laid your foot hard into the cement in the morning. It only lasts for 24 hours, by the way. So tomorrow, right, if you're going to head off towards the sort of like, you put him in a cannon, did they? Raised him up, the hairless monkey. What did he want to do? And he put a spring on it, did he? When he said, oh, fucking hell. Right, you need to know that there's a bit of string holding you onto the ground. But Jamie's taught us how to go this way. And all the stuff I'm doing here is teaching me how to ground. And the two of them are growing together. And I would never have expected that if it hadn't been for Ram Dass and going on that journey that was opened up through being silly and playing games. Right? Because what it does is it takes us into that space inside ourselves. We have this deep spiritual knowing. It connects us back to our hearts and different things.
I love the way you described that too, and particularly with the beats and things. And it's wonderful for us to hear the many ways that we may, many pathways we may choose to be well, each of us. And that's why we talk about flow, but flow is fearlessly loving our well-being, and being in flow, often people will describe about how they may be feeling on the journey. So
I love that. I have not heard that before.
So we made it up.
Did you?
Roddy. Yeah.
Did you really?
We haven't copyrighted it yet.
It doesn't matter. Can I write it down anyway? Flow. Did they own the word flow?
You
I
can.
Don't think so. I think Cheek My High, Chick Send Me High talked about that.
We know you're on our team,
again.
Roddy, and we really, really appreciate you making the time to be with us here today. We're so grateful. Happy Songkran, because you've taken time out of that Thai New Year day to be with us. And, we'd love to talk to you again, further along and see where everything's at. But we love what you've brought to us today so much.
Remember the lovey hands? Like we got to send the love to
yeah, jazz hands.
Yeah, come on, right? Put the fucking music on, right? What about Connected? Right? He didn't even bring a soundtrack. Fuck's sake, right? Put this on. Stick this in your pipe and smoke it. I'll do that just after the thing if you don't mind. Right? Connect up to the fucking.
Thanks, Roddy, and also best host ever. Like the time you looked after me in Scotland was incredible. So love you forever.
Absolute pleasure.
Over and out.
Comes Funky Monkey.
Thank you, Monkey.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many tools out there to look after yourself, which are really helpful. It's all about, I believe, the commitment to remain open and curious in our own lives, which can lead us to new perspective and truth also that we can hopefully continue to question for the sake of our own growth. And I would like to close up with another quote of the Narnia Chronicles. To defeat the darkness out there, you must defeat the darkness within yourself. And also, no one is told any story but their own, which is really, really on point for the transformational work we do. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you would like to support us, like, subscribe, share, you find all the information down the video below. Thank you, Shal, and bye.